So hello everyone. I hope now that the results are declared and we have a lot of queries and a lot of doubts to be taken. So we are here today live to consider and solve each and every one of your doubts. So at the outset we see that the most important query that most people have is, okay, sir, how do I improve my result? How do I what all should I do in the coming month or so that I can make a difference in my result. So first of all, I want you to start with a possibility, and that possibility is that I have seen, and I want you to understand that I have seen many students in the past who have improved massively from a INICET exam to their NEET exam. So I want you to first of all write in your notebooks or write in your minds that it is possible, because if there is no possibility you will not work hard. So I want you to trust us here, and if you have doubts you can actually scroll back on the Damn Series channel. When you go back on the years, you will find year after year examples of people who did not do well in the AIMS exam, but they came back in the next 2 months, realized, okay, this is what I needed to do, and did a strength weakness analysis and ended up getting a very, very good rank in the NEETPG exam.
All right. So, yes, there were loads and loads of messages, and although I am trying to reply them one-on-one, it's just a lot of social media handles. So I will still keep replying one-on-one. We are sending audio messages and we are trying to reach out to each one of you. But nonetheless, we decided that, ek baar aaj live aakar, let's talk heart to heart out, and let's sort of tell you that this was not the last exam. This was actually the first exam, and a much bigger exam, and therefore I would say a much bigger opportunity is actually waiting for you, right? So sabse pehle to you have to forget what has happened in INICET, and someone actually wrote कि बहुत hangover है result का and low mood है, right? So you need to understand बच्चे कि what has gone by, and there are lessons to be learned from it and move on, and that is what is very, very important, because usse kya hoga, otherwise you are sort of missing on the much bigger opportunity that is waiting for you. So NEETPG exam is a much bigger exam. It has many seats. It has very prestigious institutes, right? Some, all the top state institutes are through NEETPG, and they give you excellent clinical exposure. So, you still have the best opportunities waiting for you. And, this is what each one of you have to tell yourself. All right. So, you shouldn't think ki this is the end of it. You have to think that, okay, this is what has happened. I accept it, and I will see what mistakes I did, and I am sure that I will improve from here on. So as Dr. Sameer said, we have seen in the past so many students improve from INICET, but the only way you will improve is when you consider yourself worthy of that improvement. So don't feel dejected. Do not feel that it is not possible at all. You have a good time still left. There are 45 odd days. और उसमें अच्छे से आप revision कर सकते हो, right? So don't worry. All you have to do now is go all out. But before you actually go all out and we tell you what to do, the first thing is reassurance. You have to tell yourself, koi baat nahi, this is how it is, but it's not the end of the road. Yes, I have big opportunities coming up and I must be prepared for it. Yes, so this is the first thing that I would really want to say.
Now, once I want you to again, I'm reinforcing, but I think that is the most important message that we wanted to give you through this medium, is that it is possible to improve. So, because this possibility is very important, because otherwise, you will feel कि पता नहीं होगा कि नहीं होगा, कर पाएंगे कि नहीं कर पाएंगे. And I see every year people improving. So, but let's go deeper into and understand who are the people who are improving. So people who are improving after the INICET are the people who are able to do a strength weakness analysis.
Yes.
People who are able to go home and now see what has gone wrong in the exam. So let's now try and understand one by one. Suppose you gave this exam out of 200 questions and you ended up attempting 130, 140. Now there are two possibilities. Either you had no idea about other questions, or you were over defensive. So if you had idea about the answers but you did not mark them because you wanted to prevent negative, that is talking about a lack of exam skill. But if you did not know anything about the points and you were able to attempt only less than 100, that means you need to work on content. So it's like important to understand where things are going wrong. Is it my content that I need to upgrade, or is it my exam skill that I need to upgrade? And we need to also draw out timelines. So once we have a strength weakness analysis, we have timelines, we should be able to divide things into the remaining month or so, and 40 days or so, and we need to make a plan accordingly. So let's look at scenarios. Scenario number 1: you did very well in the INICET exam, but not to your own expectation. You wanted a certain branch which you feel will not be available at that rank, and you feel that you will be repeating. So then you need to go for the final push, or you feel that you are far away from this. So we saw that in this exam around 60-70,000 students would have sat in the INICET exam. So when we look at this exam and we think about NEETPG, where 1,75,000 students are going to sit, and we know that, okay, so we need to work a little bit harder. We need to do a strength weakness analysis. We need to find out where am I going wrong. Is it my content? Is it my lack of revision? Is it my exam skill which needs to be improved? And actually speaking, we need to work on all three. Okay, and I also want to add a line here which is very important to set the mood in the beginning of the talk today itself, is that INICET is conducted by central institutes, while NEETPG is conducted by National Board of Examinations. These are two different exams, so they will feel different. I want to answer it. I have been getting these messages for last I think few days. Sir, अभी INICET ऐसा हो गया तो NEETPG भी ऐसा ही आएगा क्या? नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होगा. वो अलग एग्जाम है, वो अलग बोर्ड है. So we need to know NEETPG is conducted by National Board of Examinations, and all of us are feeling that they have reduced the number of questions from the classical 300 to 200. INICET was always 200. So there's no change in the INICET protocol this year. But INICET this year feels like the last year's INICET, actually speaking. But NEETPG this year will feel different from the last year's NEETPG. So we feel clinical vignettes will be there. There will be a lot of clinical vignette style in the paper. And we feel there will be more conceptual paper. And we saw the same thing in 2020 NEETPG also. 2020 NEETPG was more conceptual than the INICET 2020. So do not think that this paper predicts NEETPG. It is not so. So when it is going to be a different body, different style of questions, so a different set of students can actually make it happen big. So it is not necessary that if you did not do well in this exam, you will not do well there. No, it is not true. You can actually improve because our paper will be conducted by a different body, and plus there is time to analyze mistakes, which some students did not get before the INICET exam because of various reasons. It was not an easy time. Some of them had COVID duties and family issues. It was not easy. So now we, in the next 40 days, can we now work on the lacunae and can we make it happen is the question.
Okay, so two things which are relevant to what Dr. Sumer said and which I also see in the chat box. Number one is a lot of people in the chat box are writing that they found the paper easy, but they still have a rank around 8,000 or maybe even farther than that. And there's another set of students in the chat box who are saying that they did a lot of silly mistakes. Now, these two things are quite related. And in fact, what Dr. Sumer said at the beginning is also related to this. Now, I do agree that the paper was relatively on the easier side, okay, because there were one-liners as well, pretty many. There were spotters, which were plain and simple images. So yes, it was slightly on the easier side. Now, what happens is when it is slightly on the easier side, the competition gets even more hard. And this will actually hit you hard कि जब paper आसान आता है, तो ranks have a higher tendency to go more backward for people who are at an average level of preparation. क्योंकि एक basic level of questions हैं जो सब ठीक करने वाले हैं. right? और जब क्वेश्चन आसान होते हैं then the tendency to do silly mistakes also increases. Why? Because sometimes you start overthinking because you feel that the question could not be that easy, there may be something more to it. Or secondly, because of hurried responses, you start missing on words. I know students who missed word not in the question and things like that. है ना? तो इसीलिए these are two very common reasons why sometimes it is a problem when the ranks, when the paper is on the relatively easier side, which means you have to remember now that irrespective of what the pattern is going to be, and that's what Dr. Sameer was also saying, that this is a different board, there is likely to be a different pattern of the paper. Now, the biggest advice that I want to give right now is, please do not prepare in these 45 days keeping in mind any pattern. You have to free yourself from the idea of a set pattern, because that really disturbs you during the exam. You, in these last 40-45 days, what your goal has to be is a very thorough revision. और फिर उसके बाद कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता whether they are going to ask you images, or they will ask you clinical vignettes, or they will ask you one-liners, right? It doesn't matter. So, the first revision that all of you are going to do, you have to know, or you have to understand that it has to be a thorough revision, right? And when I say it has to be a thorough revision, what I also mean is I want you to do rapid revisions. So some of you students, I'm trying to see the chat simultaneously. So some of you students, when you say thorough, तो आपको लगता है कि बहुत आराम से और धीरे-धीरे revision करना है. No. Instead of doing one long revision, I want you to do multiple small fast revisions. Okay, this is something that I really want each one of you to understand. I want you to now target multiple fast revisions, बच्चे. ऐसा नहीं करना है कि मैं अच्छे से पढ़ रहा हूँ, I have 40 days. So, this is sort of dragging yourself on. So, what I want, no matter what your rank is, believe me, अगर आपको मेरे पे भरोसा है, जो मुझे लगता है आपको है, and I will speak my heart out, I will just tell you what I will do if I was in your position. मैं सच में इस वक्त not targeting the pattern, what my focus would be that I want to do multiple revisions, so at least 2, preferably 3, and I want to do fast revisions बेटा, क्योंकि वही चीज़ आपको सबसे ज़्यादा काम आएगी, believe me. और उसके साथ कैसे टैकल करना है पैटर्न को वो भी मैं बताऊंगी, बट द बेसिक लेवल बेटा फॉर ऑल ऑफ यू हैज़ टू बी multiple fast revisions in these 40-45 days. ठीक है, और वो करना है. एंड देन निधि इज आस्किंग कि इसमें कभी कभी फिर चीज़ें रह जाती हैं. दैट इज द सेकेंड पार्ट. हाउ विल यू डू मल्टीपल फास्ट रिविजन्स, है ना. दूसरा क्वेश्चन आता है, हाउ शुड आई डू इट मैम. सो प्लीज रिमेंबर, towards the last lap of your exam, okay, you cannot revise every page of everything that you have written. Okay, so what you have to target is selective revisions. They have to be selective in 2 formats. Number 1, selective in terms of what questions, or rather I should say topics, have high probability of being asked. ठीक है बच्चा. और दूसरा, what topics am I weak in. सारे बच्चों को ये 2 तरीके से multiple fast revisions करने हैं. Yes, so Henisha, that is exactly what I'm trying to tell you, और Seema, that is exactly what I'm trying to tell you बेटा, कि कैसे multiple fast revision करना है. It will only be possible बेटा when you do revision in keeping in mind 2 things. I will go selective, that's point number 1. Number 2, I will also take into consideration things or topics that I am weak in. ठीक है. सो पहले आप अपने नोट्स से सिलेक्टिव रिविजन करोगे. सो फॉर सिलेक्टिव रिविजन I want you to use any of these resources. You may have any of these, right? It doesn't matter. Any test paper that you have, it could be a class test paper, it could be a T&D paper, it could be a fast track paper, right? It could be a clinical vignette T&D paper, it could be the mini revision series that we are starting. Any test paper you are going to pick up for a subject, topics asked in that test paper are what I want you to go back to now and revise. These are the first set of topics that I want you to revise from your notes. So जो भी आप subject पकड़ रहे हो, it could be path, it could be pharma, it could be OG, whatever subject it is, उसका कोई भी test paper उठाओगे, it could be SWT, it's a wonderful resource, fast track TND paper, your own TND paper, your class test paper, because I can say that with confidence क्योंकि वो सब हमने ही बनाए हुए हैं. And you know, keeping in mind the thing that these things are highly likely to be asked. So सबसे पहले you will revise these topics and then I will tell you how else to decide what are the topics to cover so that you know आपका कुछ छूटे ना. तो वो FOMO जो आपको होता है ना कि अगर मैं selective करूँगी या करूँगा, I might leave certain things और फिर वही आ गए एग्जाम में. तो ये एक स्ट्रैटेजी है बेटा, यही तो हमने, इसी को तो स्ट्रैटेजी टुवर्ड्स द एंड कहते हैं कि ऐसी हम क्या चीज़ें रिवाइज करें जिनका हिट रेट ज़्यादा हो एंड यू आर नॉट मिसिंग ऑन मेजर मोस्ट प्रोबेबल थिंग्स टू बी आस्क्ड. सो आई विल टेल यू, आई विल गिव द माइक टू डॉक्टर सुमेर. आई बीन स्पीकिंग फॉर लिटिल वाइल. तब तक आई विल रीड मोर कॉमेंट्स एंड आई विल कम बैक विद द आंसर्स. टिल देन डॉक्टर सुमेर विल आंसर.
So, you know, first of all, I want you to scroll back on this channel whenever you get time. There is an interview by a girl this year. I think yesterday only we took that interview. She is a student who improved from 68,000 rank in the last exam to 55 rank in the INICET this year. So when we asked her that, you know, you have come back from 68,000 rank to 55, she said, you know, everybody told her that, you know, she cannot make it to AIMS and she should actually be focusing on NEET because they said कि बेटा आपका मुश्किल है आपके लिए क्योंकि आप 68,000 वाले रैंक में. But she did not believe it. उसने कहा कि मुझे लगता था कि नहीं, मैं तो AIMS वाले स्टैंडर्ड को रखती हूँ. And she was able to do it. It's a very good interview to look at and it is a very inspiring interview. It's a very champion kind of a comeback where the student actually improved from 68,000 rank in NEET to 55 in INICET. So if she can do it, why you cannot? So, and I have seen over the years, there are a few ingredients of improvement. Number one thing is you have to trust your own class notes. The notes that you made in the class and notes that you wrote down, you spent those hours in the class on the live sessions and you made notes. Now, why I am telling you this is because if you notice, the common factor between all the high achievers, all the rankers in this year's INICET was they had notes to revise, and not only that, they had trust on their notes. So if you notice in many of the interviews, I heard the toppers speak and a lot of the high rankers said that, sir, I had faith in my teachers. So I was following what the teachers had taught me. So do not be affected by FOMO. What is FOMO? The FOMO at this stage means कि सर मेरे क्लास में सर आपने पढ़ाया था तो वो नोट्स इतने हैं मेरे, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि सर X लड़का तो ये पढ़ रहा है, Y तो ये पढ़ रहा है, Z तो ये पढ़ रही है, मैं क्या करूँ? वही पढ़ना है जो तेरे कॉपी में लिखा है. It's very important because what will happen is if I keep going after others, then what will happen is I might get into a place where I will end up wasting times getting confused. So it is very important not to be affected by FOMO. Trust what you have. Trust your notes. The notes that you make in the class are gold. And this is one common factor, out of the, I think, around 30-40 interviews that we have taken in the last 3 days. The common factor between all high achievers was they had faith on their class notes. The second thing that we observed was, which I feel is very important, is managing the mindset. When I talk about mindset means that do you believe that you will be able to do it is very important. Then you might say, sir, आपने बोला जब तक आप बोल रहे थे तो मेरे में belief था, आपने वीडियो बंद किया, मेरा belief खत्म, अब मैं क्या करूं? So, and this is a common thing that we talked about with a lot of students who had made a comeback. And we learned this and we are teaching you today. Accumulate tiny victories. Now, that is where, Deepti and me, we will keep telling you to give tests. Ignore question bank. Give more tests. In the final 40 days, test देने की significant, question bank करने से ज़्यादा है. मैं example बताऊँगा. I saw this girl in one of the interviews. She had a average kind of a score. And another boy, I think, at rank 4 only. I think rank 4 or 5. I think Sanchit. Kavya was there 4 and a boy at 5, and this boy is from a private medical college, and he said, sir, I gave a test, I saw a good rank, and that gave me confidence. So what happens is, when you give tests, now suppose you give you are feeling low के सर मेरा NICT मेरा अच्छा नहीं हुआ, अब मैं क्या करूं? तो अब मैं कह रहा हूं जान लगा के अगला ग्रैंड टेस्ट देते हैं. If you find yourself on the DAMS leaderboard at the top 100 rank, मैं बोलूँ या ना बोलूँ, आपका कॉन्फिडेंस वापस आना शुरू हो जाएगा. सो यू हैव टू मैनेज द माइंडसेट. यू हैव टू रिपीटेडली टेल योरसेल्फ दैट यू विल बी एबल टू डू इट. पीपल हैव इम्प्रूव्ड massively, why not you? Then accumulate victories to build on the mindset. ऐसे नहीं होगा ना, कई बार क्या होता है कि मैं बोलूँ लेकिन आपको विश्वास नहीं हो रहा. सो टिल द टाइम यू बिलीव फ्रॉम इनसाइड दैट यू विल बी एबल टू डू इट, बार बार डाउट होता रहेगा, बार बार लगे यही कॉपी तो INICT से पहले पढ़ी थी, अब इसको दोबारा पढ़ के क्या हो जाएगा, जबकि क्वेश्चन तो उसी में से आए हैं. यू अंडरस्टैंड? ये तो नोट्स पढ़े थे मैंने सर, लेकिन वो तो मैंने पहले पढ़े थे, बनी नहीं बात, कोई बात नहीं, अब बनेगी. सो लेट्स ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. देयर आर 3 parts to it. One is you're reading your notes, second is applying them on the question, third is having a good exam skill. That all 3 components put together make a rank. भाई पढ़ते पढ़ाते बहुत सारे लोग हैं, लेकिन उसको एग्जाम में रैंक में कन्वर्ट करने के लिए आखिरी में किल करना है. उसके लिए ये 40 दिन है. इसमें एग्जाम स्किल को बनाना है कि मैंने पढ़ा, लेकिन मैंने पढ़ा सर, दूसरे ने पढ़ा, उसको रैंक बन गया, मैंने पढ़ा, मेरा रैंक क्यों नहीं बना? तो एग्जाम स्किल पे काम करते हैं. सर मैंने रिवाइज नहीं कर पाया था, तो अब रिवाइज करेंगे. सो व्हाट वी विल टेल यू हियर इज, वी विल गिव यू द क्रक्स ऑफ द थिंग, we will give you the crux of the things, but I sincerely believe that it is about managing the mindset. You need to forgive and forget this result if it was not up to the mark as per your expectation. भाई एक्सपेक्टेशन भी अलग अलग होती हैं, है ना. हो सकता है आपको जो अच्छा लग रहा हो सकता है दूसरे को ना लग रहा हो, या आपको खराब लग रहा है दूसरे को अच्छा लग रहा है, कुछ भी हो सकता है. आई हैव सीन दिस टाइम व्हेन आई टॉक टू सो मेनी स्टूडेंट्स, सम स्टूडेंट्स हैव अ टॉप रैंक, लेकिन उनको सिर्फ एम्स दिल्ली में मेडिसिन चाहिए, तो दे आर नॉट हैप्पी. ऐसा हो सकता है. सो
Right. So now, okay, taking the next.
So what we need to do is, I'm so sorry for the electricity fluctuation that is happening right now, but what we need to do is, we need to tell ourselves that we are good enough. One exam result will not define what you will become. It depends on what you will do in the next 40 days. I always tell my students, and I'm again repeating, you cannot roll back clock, but by managing the mindset, you can change the future. है ना. माने पीछे जो बीत गया उसको तो नहीं बदल सकते, वो ह्यूमैनिटी के कंट्रोल में नहीं दिया भगवान ने, जब तक वो टाइम ट्रैवल नहीं आता. जो टाइम पीछे गया उसमें हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन आगे को बदला जा सकता है. एंड दैट इज द एनालिसिस आई वांट यू टू डू.
Right. So coming back to what I was talking about as selective query is, selective revision is that, once you are doing certain topics which you've done wrong and I've asked you to go back. So किसी ने example के साथ भी पूछा था कि for example ma'am, if I'm reading I did a question on hormonal profile of PCOS wrong, तो क्या मैं जाके सारा PCOS पढ़ूँ? बिल्कुल नहीं बेटे, that's not what selective revision is. When I say बच्चे do selective revision, go back to that very particular topic and read that from your notes. Do not get into trying to read the entire, I would say the entire big topic completely. There is no end to it. So that's what I mean, that you have to definitely try and stick to retrograde revisions to make it very, very effective. ठीक है. नाउ अब कुछ लोगों ने बोला मैम इससे अगर कुछ टॉपिक्स रह गए तो क्या करें. नाउ कम्स द सेकेंड पार्ट. As Dr. Sumer also said that a very important aspect is your exam skill. So उसके लिए मैं चाहती हूँ आज सारे बच्चे जितने भी यहाँ चैट बॉक्स में हैं, each one of you are going to promise me something. Yes, are you all going to promise me something? I want a very, very, gentleman and gentlewoman's promise from all of you that you will practice a minimum of 100 MCQs every day. And beta, that is not too much to ask for. 100 is the minimum that I want each one of you to practice those questions from today itself. Right? Now those 100 questions could be from DQB, but listen to me very carefully. What I want you to do is not topic-wise MCQs, but I want you to do clinical vignettes from DQB. So listen to me carefully. There are 3 levels of clinical vignettes in the DQB. The first level is within the subject itself. For example, OBS, you want to revise OBS. There are about 175 clinical vignettes in obstetrics part. You want to revise gynecology. There's another 175 clinical vignettes there. So अब आपको topic wise नहीं जाना है. So close to the exam, I don't want you to do, I am doing topics on fetal skull or MCQs on fetal skull. नहीं बेटा, ऐसे नहीं करना है. Integrated पढ़ना है, entire OBS together, entire gynae together, entire medicine together, and then in fact even linking medicine to obstetrics or gynecology. राइट सो हम कोशिश करेंगे कि हम 100 MCQs ज़रूर प्रैक्टिस करें. There are clinical vignettes within the subject. Then, as I said, the second level is a mixed bag clinical vignette section, right? So that will again ensure that you are practicing all subjects in one go. You're not being selective. This is the way to identify, okay, this is the way to identify where you are going wrong. So कुछ बच्चों ने जैसे मुझसे पूछा कि मैम if I go selective and do retrograde तो मुझे लगता है कि मेरे topics रह जाएंगे. Yes, so that is why to plug those gaps I want you to practice MCQs. Now only MCQs is not the goal. I want you to practice these 100 MCQs in the form of a test. So एक करके एक check नहीं करना है. You have to ensure that you're solving these 100 MCQs in a 30-40 minute time frame or 40 minute time frame. Yes, and you will check them all together, and then जो भी चीज़ें आपने गलत की हैं, you know, things that you did wrong, you will again go back to notes, that particular part in the notes, and you are going to revise that. Yes, so apart from doing your question, your notes, using your TND papers, any format of test papers, this is the second thing I want you to add. So please, it's in fact a request from my side कि ये दो चीज़ें ज़रूर करो बच्चे. इससे आप ensure कर पाओगे that you're revising the higher probability things. Second, you're not missing on things which everyone else should know, because these are basic topics, basic questions which we are very fond of asking in the exams, right? And it will also help you to do a strength weakness analysis on a daily basis, right? So this is the second thing that I want you to add apart from any test papers and doing a retrograde revision, okay?
And I also wanted to add here that I see a lot of students asking a question. I think one student is repeatedly asking, okay, sir, is the DAMS crash course enough? So DAMS crash course on the app is a pre-recorded crash course. It is around 200 odd hours. It is doable, but it is recommended if you're starting now. If you're starting now and you want to cover ground, that is the high yield material that you can look at. And so, Deepti talked about doing the clinical vignettes, and because the reason she's saying clinical vignettes is because that is the pattern that we are expecting the NEETPG to have. I am a big fan of grand test, and I want you to believe it in.
Yes,
it is very, very important to give grand test. It is like it could be the critical thing that you are missing out. जैसे कई बच्चे पूछे सर मैं कैसे improve करता, मुझे समझ ही नहीं आ रहा. शायद grand test वो missing करी है. Reason is कि बच्चे देखो कि lecture attend करना एक बात है, उसको घर जाके पढ़ना दूसरी बात है. Now lecture attend करना is easier than घर जाके पढ़ना. Can you tell me why? Because lecture teacher ने लेना है, आपने सिर्फ बैठना है. घर जाके पढ़ना माने आपने डिसाइड करना है कि आपने पढ़ना है, तो आप प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट कर रहे हैं. ऐसा हो सकता है ना. फिर तीसरी बात में आते हैं कि सर मैंने पढ़ तो लिया लेकिन फिर टेस्ट करना है. टेस्ट में फिर टेस्ट वर्ड से ही लगता है कोई मेरे को चेक कर रहा है, तो वी टेंड टू प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट. सर पूरे कोर्स का टेस्ट है, अभी तो पूरा हुआ ही नहीं, ये नहीं पता कि कभी पूरा नहीं होगा. समझ पा रहे हैं? सो आई एम अगेन रिपीटिंग इन इंग्लिश. व्हाट हैपेंस इज व्हेन वी लुक एट द टेस्ट मेनी टाइम्स वी फील दैट ग्रैंड टेस्ट आई विल डू व्हेन आई हैव डन ऑल दी सब्जेक्ट्स, बट ऑल दी सब्जेक्ट्स कभी हो ही नहीं पाते. तो कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं आपकी वो मिसिंग लिंक, वो मिसिंग चीज़ जो आप पूछ रहे हो कि मेरा रैंक मैं कैसे इंप्रूव करूं, कहीं वो ग्रैंड टेस्ट ना हो. नाउ अगेन I will again say that what has happened is most people, they like doing a guidebook kind of idea. I'm telling you why. When you do a guidebook, listen to me everybody, आप एक guidebook कर रहे हो तो आपने क्वेश्चन देखा, okay, listen to me everybody, very important. आपने क्वेश्चन देखा A, B, C, D चॉइस है, एंड यू थिंक या तो बी आंसर या सी है. ठीक है, आपके दिमाग में फ्रैक्शन ऑफ अ सेकंड में आ रहा है बी है या सी है, लेकिन आपसे रुका नहीं गया, आपने नीचे देख लिया या आपने क्लिक दबाया, नीचे आंसर आ गया. व्हाटएवर, दैट्स अ गाइड बुक. ओके, सो आंसर आ गया. अब आंसर आया तो क्या हुआ, मैंने तो बी सोचा था, आपने बी या सी सोचा था, लेकिन क्योंकि बी आ गया यू एज्यूम कि मैंने भी बी सोचा था एंड यू गो टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. ऑन द डे ऑफ द एग्जाम इट मैग्नीफाइज, बी है या सी है, बी है या सी है, नीचे कोई आंसर ही नहीं आ रहा क्योंकि एग्जाम है. That is where grand test is so critical, that I want you to commit your answers to 200 questions, submit the paper, then see the answers. That will tell you the truth, that what you mark when you are stuck between B and C. And you will, today you will agree कि paper doable था, आप भी दो ही चॉइसेस में फंसे थे, टॉपर भी दो चॉइस में फंसा था, उसने बी मार्क किया, आपने सी मार्क कर दिया. यही फर्क है और कोई फर्क नहीं है. द एंटायर आइडिया इज दैट वी नीड टू फाइंड आउट व्हाट डू आई डू व्हेन आई हैव टू कमिट टू द आंसर्स. आई एम श्योर यू नो दिस विल गिव यू द आइडिया दैट इंस्टेड ऑफ लुकिंग एट क्यू बैंक एट दिस स्टेज, yeah, other than the clinical vignettes, because that is a new pattern that is introduced. That is very important.
Yeah, that's mixed, no? It's not.
That is a new pattern that is introduced, and you might not have done it in your third year and fourth year, because at that time the pattern of NEET was factual. So that is a separate story altogether. But other than that, I want you to give test. Give test, okay? If you rewind this video again, you will see Dr. Sumer saying again and again, give test, give test, give test. And that is that is my intent. When you submit the test and when you analyze, you will be able to analyze two things. You will be able to see what is lacking in your exam skill and what is lacking in your content. Like we interviewed a girl a few days back and she said that she used to give grand test in two methods. One grand test she will give in an aggressive manner. One grand test she will give in a defensive manner to find out her optimum strategy. And that is the girl I was talking about who came back from 68,000 to 55 rank. She was the one who was titrating her exam skill before the exam. You cannot learn the exam skill on the day of the exam. So grand test is the critical thing that I want you to give. And many of you would be asking, sir, कितने grand tests करें? हर हफ्ते में एक, कम से कम, one per week GT is essential in the final 40 days.
Right. And I'm going to add to what Dr. Sumer said. So definitely the third part of your preparation in these 40 days. So first was a retrograde revision of your notes. Yes, from the test papers. Second limb that I said is practicing at least 100 MCQs every day, and that's the minimum. You could very well go up to 150 and 200 as well. Okay. And the third limb that Dr. Sumer has added is the grand test. Now again beta, इसमें भी same चीज follow करना है. Whenever you're giving any test, चाहे वो SWT हो, or whether it is a T&D paper, or it's a clinical vignettes, or it's a GT, it is going to be futile if you don't go back and see your mistakes. Please mark my words. Only doing the grand test is not going to be very effective unless your weak link is time management. Yes, so I agree. There are a set of people for whom time management is a major issue. For them, yes, very frequent grand tests are useful, right? And they might not be analyzing. But other than that, if you are giving a paper and you're not analyzing the questions that you have done wrong, or you are not analyzing the questions that you just marked right, because as just by luck or by ruling out, you are supposed to go back to these topics from your and read them from your class notes. Now, this is something that you have to do. Somebody was asking, how do I analyze the entire GT? How do I go through all the videos? It is absolutely okay at this time if you are not able to go through all the videos, but definitely go through the questions which you have done wrong in your grand test, or the questions which you were able to mark by chance, by ruling out certain options. So you need to go back to your class notes repeatedly after doing the test paper or the grand test or practicing questions. These three limbs, I assure you, anybody who's going to do these three things is going to succeed. It doesn't matter what your current rank is. If you're going to do this, diligently for next 40 days, you will improve for sure. Okay, आप ज़रूर और ज़रूर improve करोगे, because what you're trying to cater to now is A, higher probability things, B, your MCQ skill, and C, taking care of your weak zones. And that is what is required from you in these last a month or so for the exam. I will talk about DVT as well. I will tell you when you need to do it. Yes, it is a super resource. That is something that every topper has said in their interview, even for INICET, and it remains the same for NEET PG exam. It ensures कि आप सारे subjects revise कर रहे हो in an integrated manner. They're covering even the finest details from the notes because they're clinically relevant details. Yes, they have algorithms, they have flow charts. It has everything that you need, right? But what I will suggest is try and keep DVT for the last 10 days, right? So that makes it even more effective. So keep DVT sessions for last 10 days. That's when you need to do a very quick recap of all subjects, okay?
Now, I'll also add a line which is about mimicking the exam day, because it's very important. I think I don't have the slide here. Okay, so I'll give you the exam day idea. This year when you are giving the exam, it is not a normal scenario. You have like a mask on your ears, and all of us doctors also have a spectacle, so our ears are actually overworked. Specs, mask, and it's like so difficult at times to concentrate also. So I met sometimes students in the last few years who at home also were trying to mimic the situation in the real exam. How much water should you have with you, how much and try to mimic that situation in your practice. So what we have done is, in DAMS we do a CBT every year around 1 month before the final exam. So this time we are doing it on 8th of August, which is conducted in computer centers. I will request you to give that exam. Today is probably the last date of registering for the CBT. Give that exam mimicking the seriousness of the real exam, and also wear a mask throughout the duration of the exam so that you get used to it. Every tiny bit of discomfort that you feel during the exam may lead to a distracted mind, may lead to tiny silly mistakes. And in exams that are as competitive as this, you need to acclimatize. Many students keep asking me, sir, I feel anxious during the exam. I say acclimatize. Sir, you understand, acclimatize means try mimicking the exam scenario around you as well as inside your mind, so that you get used to the tension of the exam. DAMS grand test, DAMS CBT should feel like the final exam to you. And final exam should feel like a coaching test to you. ये तो टेस्ट है, कुछ नहीं, ग्रैंड टेस्ट है. You should have that mindset कि इतनी बार मैंने अपने आप को एग्जाम को एक्सपोज किया कि मुझे अब असली एग्जाम भी लगता है ये भी ग्रैंड टेस्ट ही हो रहा है. So that is the mindset working on it. And I want you to again, I want to add a line here, because I see one boy who's a girl, doc 007 is asking this question again and again. Sir, can I get DAMS ka crash course ka notes? Now again, I will say this, and I'm sure after this year's result you have seen every topper say this, that the notes का मतलब है जो अपने हाथ से बनाए जाए. So हमें ऐसा लगता है कि अगर क्रैश कोर्स को मैं सुनूंगा तो वो 150 घंटे लगेंगे, और मैं अगर किसी और ने नोट्स बना दी, उसने 150 घंटे लगा दिए, मुझे मिल गया तो मैं 15 मिनट में कर लूँगा. हो नहीं पाता. किसी और के हाथ से लिखा वो समझ नहीं आता. आई विल गिव यू एन आइडिया. देखो, समझते हैं. सपोज मैं अभी आपको पढ़ा रहा हूँ और आप मेरे पढ़ने के ऊपर आप नोट्स बना रहे हो, ठीक है. सो आपने 2 लाइन लिखी, लेकिन जो मैंने पढ़ाया था वो ज़्यादा था, लेकिन आपने 2 लाइन लिखी. Okay, so I'll repeat in English again. So whenever I'm teaching, when you're making notes on the basis of my teaching, what will happen is you will not write everything that I'm speaking, but you will write the key line. But when you read that line again, your memory gets refreshed and everything around that scene comes back. Maybe you remember your friend was discussing this point with you. Maybe you remember the teacher was, like this time when I was interviewing a topper, one of the top girls said, sir, I could remember how Dr. Arvind used to teach us with hand movements, the valvular disease. And somebody said, sir, I still remember, sir, how you said this in the class about the MRI susceptibility weighted and all. Although in her notes, she had only marked that image to SWI, but they remembered what was around it. That is how our memory works. So what you write in the notes acts like a prop. It sets off the trigger for those memories to come back. So it is important to have your own self-made notes, because if you are taking somebody else's notebook, memories are his. समझ रहे हैं, आप किसी की कॉपी ले सकते हैं, उसकी यादें नहीं ले सकते साथ में, तो वो उसके साथ में पूरी नहीं बैठ पाती. एंड दैट इज well known fact here, and that is why in DAMS we totally do not believe in writing notes and then photocopying and cyclostating and distributing. We don't believe in that. And on the other hand, if so that is where I hope this gives you the insight. So there are three things. Now let's again look back and think कि मेरे एग्ज़ाम जब मैं दे रहा था, जब आप INICET का एग्ज़ाम दे रहे थे, तो क्या हो रहा था? मुझे याद ही नहीं आ रहा था क्या है लिखा उसमें. मुझे आ रहा था लेकिन भूल गया है. मुझे आता था, मैं गलत मार्क कर दिया. Let's try to understand. The question was totally new to me. Majority of questions are totally new to me. That means I need to work on content. Okay, and that might even mean doing a crash course for 1 month. That means content. मुझे आता था लेकिन मैं 2 में कंफ्यूज हो रहा था. Okay, lack of maybe I need lack of revision. I need to do more revision. That is good idea, sir. I definitely knew it, but on the day of the exam, somehow I made silly mistakes. Exam skill. These are the only 3 demons that you need to beat. या तो मुझे पता ही नहीं है, या content मेरे copy में नहीं था. मतलब that entire thing that they had asked in the INICET exam was not there in my notebook at all. That means I need to work on content. It was there in my notes, but I had faint recollection, but I was not fully able to recall. Lack of revision, I need to kill that. Okay. Number 3, which is more likely for moderate rankers, exam skill. I need to hone my exam skill. See, a student sent me a message today, sir, I am at 1200 rank. What should I do? Further develop your exam skill. Sir, I'm at 50,000 rank. Build your content also. You understand? So our answers would vary, and that is where our entire idea today was to give you insight into what is to be done. What we want you to do is have a piece of paper with you today and introspect. Okay, first of all, let's forgive and forget what has happened in the exam. उसको लेके आगे नहीं बढ़ पाएंगे, उसके बैगेज को आगे नहीं ले जा पाएंगे. We cannot go back on time. We need to create future. फ्यूचर बनाया जा सकता है, पास्ट नहीं चेंज किया जा सकता. आई हैव ऑलरेडी सेड दिस, देयर इज ओनली वन पॉसिबिलिटी टू चेंज पास्ट इज टाइम ट्रैवल. ओके, अदरवाइज वी कैन जस्ट गो फॉरवर्ड में जाते हुए, इफ वी आर एबल टू फाइंड आउट व्हाट वेंट रॉन्ग, यू विल बी एबल टू डू मासिव इंप्रूवमेंट. Massive मतलब you might be in top 100 in the NEETPG exam. That is the possibility. But if I keep doing the same mistake, तब नहीं बनेगी. Okay, and that is why, if you notice, my advice was revise your notes, manage your mindset, give grand test, because I want you to focus on exam skill revision, because I think that these are the usual 2 things which work in the final 40 days.
Okay, so I have a couple of queries to whom I wrote in the chat box that I will answer. So the first one was, I think someone who is not able to study in the home environment. There could be so many reasons for it. I'm not going to go into details of what reasons these could be, but if you really think that is the big hurdle for you, and if you're not in a lockdown place, if things around you are safe, and I think they are pretty much improving in most of the states, except for a few, then yes, you can find out a small library or a small place around your home where you can go and sit at least for a couple of hours at a stretch, and then come back and also try and find out which part do you need more attention for. If you feel that you need more attention for MCQs and that's something that you're not able to do at home, it's a good thing. Take a target. I'll go and do a test paper in a library or in a place close by. I'll solve 300 questions and I'll come back, right? Or if you feel it is the notes part where you need a lot of attention and the surroundings are not congenial, then maybe you can do the reverse. You go and spend a couple of hours in the library, come back and do the MCQs at home. So you will have to sort of mix and match and see where you best suit. The second query that I feel again is a query with a lot of people, that they're not able to sleep a night before the exam, and that itself is a big stress, because then your body and mind both are not in unison, you don't feel not just mentally healthy, you don't even feel physically healthy on the day of the exam. And if you really feel that is your concern, then maybe yes, you should also think of taking professional help, right? You could get in touch with Dr. Sachin or any other such person who can decide whether you need certain medication or not. Please do not self-medicate is my advice, right? What you should do by yourself is try and change your sleep-wake pattern. Bees say you should get up with an alarm and sleep with an alarm. I think most of these smartphones have these facilities, right? So sleep at a specified time and get up at a specified time. The more you do it every day, it will become a habit. And then, you will realize that you're able to sleep and get up even without the alarm. So that is something that really helps. I have practiced it. I most of the times, I don't speak out things if I have not done them. This is something that I have tried. It works. It sets your mental clock. And then after trying all this, if you feel that no, it is not helping you out, then please seek professional help, but do not self-medicate. आप लोग तो सब doctors हो, right? So you know more than me. So please reach out for help if you need. Yes. And then I think there was another query which was coming up was, I think I forgot, so maybe I would go back to the, अच्छा किसी ने पूछा था इतना सारा जल्दी जल्दी कैसे करें. So I think I have answered that query, beta. The only way to do multiple fast revisions is going retrograde now, right? So don't start from the first page of your notes of every copy. You need to go retrograde. Take help of test papers, take help of grand tests, take help of clinical vignettes, right? And then keep doing the retrograde revision. It is a continuous process. और मैंने बहुत सारे टॉपर्स से बात किया, एंड व्हाट दे से इज दे मेक अ साइकिल ऑफ 20 days, 15 to 20 days, जिसमें वो सारे 19 सब्जेक्ट्स खत्म करते हैं. सो यू शुड ऑल्सो ट्राई एंड मेक सच अ साइकिल, राइट? डिवाइड. दे यूज टू डू 3 or 4 short subjects in one day, and that is only possible, bache, if you are doing selective and a retrograde revision. Okay, I think I'll get back to the messages on the chat.
Yes, and by the time Dr. Deepti reads the chat, I'll just answer a few things again. The trick is in these 4 words. इसी में है सब कुछ और कुछ भी नहीं है. You need to analyze your strength versus weaknesses. Now think of it. Was the content the culprit? Was your lack of revision the culprit? Do you need to work on exam skill? Or it was about a mindset? Now when I talk about mindset or perspective, now it is very important. I'll just give you an example. One of the toppers that I was talking to this time after the INICET results, he said that, sir, after the exams got delayed, till the time the exams were supposed to happen on April 18th, he had not done I think 1 month back, it was till the time it was supposed to happen in June, he had not done too much MCQs. So when the exam got delayed, he decided to do grand tests. Yeah. So the idea is, how you look at, what is your perspective, how you look at the situation is very important. So when others saw the delay, they saw, oh my God, the exam is delayed. When he saw the delay, he thought, oh, it's an opportunity to plug a gap of giving grand test, and he started giving grand test. So the problem could be in these things. Is it content? Please type on the chat box and let me know. Revision, exam skill, mindset. Now, once you get to the, if you find out the zone that you're weak at, I will just help you in each of them. If you say my problem is content, whatever I had studied did not have the questions and it is too crowded, then in content, my suggestions are these. These are 2-3 small courses that I want you to use for content upgradation. One is DAMS DVT. And 90% of you, I am sure, have already done it. Yeah. DAMS DVT is integrated revision of the entire syllabus. It is doable in the final 7 days. It is doable in the finals week. Okay, DAMS DVT is a must-do topic. Second is a course that we recently did was must-know topics for NEETPG. Yeah. must know topics for NEETPG. It is slightly different from the AIMS capsule in a way that AIMS capsule, the word itself says it is like Central Institutes predominant. Must know topics was NEETPG predominant.
It was more
like so although there is a bit of overlap in the favorite topics, but it's like how the teachers perceive it. We look at must know topics short course as a NEETPG must know. And third is, if you find my content, now suppose these are useful if you find that your content is lacking 10%, 20%, 30%. But if you think that you have not studied at all and you are starting at this point, then I would suggest a crash course. It is doable in 40 days, but it is only for people who are starting now. You cannot start a crash course if you have already prepared for everything. Then don't do this. If you are starting now, then crash course. That is content. Now, third thing is, I'll just make a table for you, is revision. Revise. When you revise only your class notes. Now, what happens is, many students come and say, sir, and I want to quote a lot of toppers this time also. A lot of toppers said this. वो बोले कि सर हमारे सब दोस्त जो थे वो बोलते थे कि नोट्स तो बहुत कम है तो उससे कैसे होगा, लेकिन कम ही तो करने में आर्ट है. My question here is that instead of doing a slow revision of notes, do fast revision, fast selective revision, but do it multiple times like Dr. Deepti has written it here. Okay, so revise your notes, because lack of revision makes it difficult in the day of the exam. आपने देखा है कि सर मुझे सब आता था, बस आखिर में रिवाइज नहीं किया तो ऐसा लग रहा था यार कुछ याद ही नहीं है, फ्रेश नहीं है. Or I was taking longer than others to do it, and I was struggling, and a person who had revised is able to do it fast. So make sure that you are revising your notes, and only your notes. Don't get into this FOMO. I am again repeating the word FOMO is fear of missing out. Fear of missing out मतलब दूसरे लोग पता नहीं कुछ ऐसा ना पढ़ लें जिसमें से पेपर आ जाएगा. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. गलती तब होगी जब मेरे नोट्स की चीज मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगा. Okay, because today the entire exam patterns are focusing on the usual things. If you notice, after the INICET, I did an analysis video and I asked all the toppers to analyze the INICET paper this time, and I have done around 40 interviews. I think the largest number of interviews that we have done as compared to any channel today is 40. And when you look at those 40 interviews, each one of them was saying it was a doable paper. When they say doable, it means it was from the usual topics. So revise notes. And another thing I want you to please notice, and it is very critical, and I'm sure you must have learned it by now if you did not know it by now, repeat topics. We saw this in the INICET exam. There were repeat topics from the previous INICET, previous AIMS paper, previous PGI paper, previous JIPMER paper. And remember that oncocytoma question of Bosniak type 3 previous question. It is a repeat topic. So what happens here is, I want you to notice, it is very important that going through the video solution of previous 1 or 2 NEETPG papers will be a good idea. Going through the previous video solutions of this year's INICET to analyze will also be a good idea. Because why am I saying video solution? Because the topics are getting repeated, not the exact question. Many times the topic is repeated. So when you listen to the video solution, you get the question, you get a circumference around the question also. That is again important.
Okay, before I forget the query. So there were a couple of students, I forgot the name, who have typed, but yes, there are a couple of students who've written that, ma'am, I have already revised my notes 6 to 7 times, but my number of correct questions is stagnant. Yes, how many people in the chat box face this issue? Can you let me know how many people in the chat box face this issue, that they think they have revised significant number of times? It could be 3, it could be 4, it could be 6, but they feel that their marks or their number of correct questions is stagnant. Yes, how many of you feel that? Right. So look at the number of yes ma'ams coming in there. Yes. So this is something that I want you all to listen to me now. Okay. What I want you to know where you're going wrong. Now, when somebody says that I have revised my notes multiple times, as I said, for someone it could be 3, for someone it could be 4, for someone it could be even more than that. Yes. And if your score is stuck, इससे सबसे importantly क्या पता लगता है? So most importantly, what I get to know is that every time you are revising beta, You are revising the same lines that you have done in your first reading. And I will give you an example by drawing again. For example, this is your sheet of paper, and madam or sir has made you write these lines. Yes? So in your first or in your second reading, you take a highlighter. Yes, you do that. So you take a highlighter and you decide that, okay, line number 1 is important, line number 3, 5, 6, and this. So this is what you have done in your first reading, right? And now whenever you revise, believe me, every time you go back to this page, bacha, you again are revising the same lines, line 1, 3, 5, 6, and 7. But what about line 4, 8, 9, and 10? Do you think madam and sir were doing their own revision when they were giving you notes? Huh? Do you think we were just trying to revise our stuff? No. So please understand, when we give you notes at DAMS, they are already the most concise form of notes, but they are important to build your content, right? And this is exactly why I say that this is the time to go retrograde. Suppose you do a question wrong, okay? So suppose there is a question wrong and you decide now that let me go and see where it is in the notes, what I have written there. And now you realize when you go back to the page that, oh my God, this was already there in line 3 and 4. Somehow I had missed it out. Maybe I thought it is a factual information. Maybe I thought, अरे ये कौन पूछता है? Maybe I thought this is old stuff. Or maybe I thought इतना सारा कौन पूछता है? So for your own reason, you decided not to read it. And this is exactly going to help all those students who feel they are stagnant. मेरी एक ही strategy है, क्योंकि मुझे ऐसा लगता है that is something that I have followed all my life, even when I am a teacher. You know, I still might be doing some things wrong, and I always make it a point in the class when I feel I get, you know, there is something that I need to go into depth. मैं छोटा सा एक note बनाती हूँ, paper रखती हूँ class में, and I will just write a little something there that this is what I need to go back today and read for my students because they didn't seem too happy when I was explaining them. So maybe I myself need more clarity on it, right? So this is what you need to do. You need to, there is no need to collect more stuff. What you have is more than enough. It is more than enough to crack any exam of any pattern with good marks or ranks. Believe me, just change of strategy is what you need. You don't need to add more things. You don't need to get frightened. You don't need to think that you're not capable. You just need to change your plan. The way you are doing it is what needs a change. So please try and include this. Okay, and I'm sure you will see that your number of corrects will start improving, right? Change the way you have been revising. Things will get better, I assure you. This is a time-tested thing. It's no jadoo, it's no magic. I'm not telling you anything unusual. These are very common things, but we miss on these things. Please try it, and then in fact, give me a feedback as well if this sort of worked for you or not, okay?
So I think, Dr. Deepti has already explained this. I'm just making a diagrammatic representation, and I think this should answer most of your questions. So these are the kind of tests you have on the DAMS platform. You have class test, TND test. Some of you are asking, sir, can I use clinical vignette TND? You have subject-wise test, class test, regular class test, last mile revision test, grant test, mock test, CBT. So, DAMS is known for, taking the maximum number of tests and probably the best standard tests as well. And some of the students said that, we make the conceptual tests, and I truly believe in that, because every question is contributed by the faculties. Yes. So it is not like, somebody randomly picking it up. Now, I want you to look at this here. Look at this graph here. You read the notes, NT grade. Okay, listen to me. पहले पढ़ा, फिर test दिया, और कई बार दिया. पहले एक बार CT दिया, फिर SWT दिया, फिर grant test दिया. Multiple times you're giving different kind of test, अलग-अलग समय पे. You make mistakes. It is good to make mistakes because mistakes make you find what you don't know. पता ही नहीं चलेगा ना, गलती नहीं करेंगे तो पता नहीं चलेगा. So now imagine, now some of you are come and tell me, sir, I don't give test because then I feel depressed because I get to know my mistakes. I say वो तो अच्छी बात है. वो तो अच्छी बात है कि अगर गलती पता चल गई एग्जाम में नहीं होगी. Okay, so when you give a test, you get to know your mistakes. You go retrograde back to the notes. and you find that okay, this line was written, and I am sure after the INICET many of you must have seen, अरे ये तो notes में था. Okay, this is how it happens. So more tests you give, more mistakes you will make, more you will go back to the notes, more you will expose yourself and find what is going wrong, and more you will improve. This is the cycle of improvement. This is the basic idea behind improvement. And then now you will say, sir, which test to use? As many as possible. As many as possible. Maybe in the first go you can do the TND paper, then in the second time you can use SWT, third time you use the grand test, then you use the last mile revision test. As many tests you give, because as many times you put yourself to the test, you expose your mistakes and you learn. And this kind of cycle, if you notice, is what is called as the mixture of antegrade and retrograde study. This is what the toppers are doing. The only thing the toppers are doing different from others is toppers are not afraid of making mistakes in the tests. They are actually delighted when they make a mistake in the test because it has exposed their weak area. Try and imagine now, suppose when I got my All India 4 rank during my PG entrance exam, at that time my mainstay of my preparation was tests. Any time I would give a test and I make a mistake, I was happy कि अच्छा इस एग्जामिनर ने कुछ ढूंढ दिया जो मुझे नहीं पता. ठीक है ना, अगर ये ढूंढ देगा अच्छा है, असली एग्जाम वाला नहीं ढूंढ पाएगा. You imagine now, look at each test as a learning experience. So once you learn from your mistakes, you will be able to improve, because mistake will tell you what part of the notes you were not understanding properly. You go back and you come back to the cycle. This cycle has to go on in this last 40 days. You should have a grand test at hand. You should be giving a SWT. You might be doing a last mile revision test series. You might be doing your clinical vignette test or TND papers, any test. But do not use a test to judge yourself. Don't be so harsh on yourself. ये मत करो कि सर मैंने अभी अभी टेस्ट दिया सर, उसके बाद तो सर मेरा रैंक अच्छा नहीं आया, मैं हमेशा खराब होगा. अभी 40 दिन बचे हैं यार, ऐसा मत कर. डोंट बी सो हार्श ऑन योरसेल्फ. एंड दैट इज वन रीजन व्हाई आई डू द डैम्स फाइनल CBT a month prior to the actual exam. Okay, because my goal is not to judge you. My goal is to give you an ability to introspect, find your mistakes, work on your weaknesses and improve. So again, if you see, I have started with the cycle of antegrade, retrograde, came back to the one word again, mindset. Mindset. The key is in mindset. What do you feel when the things go wrong? कभी तो चीज़ें अपनी तरफ जाती हैं, कभी नहीं जाती. सपोज करते हैं you were hopeful that you would get a top rank in this year's INICET and you could not make it. Okay? अब क्या करें? दो बातें हो सकती हैं. एक तो ये सोचें कि सर इस बार नहीं हुआ तो लगता है कभी नहीं होगा. Pessimism. दूसरा ऑप्टिमिज्म. इस बार नहीं हुआ लेकिन अगली बार करके दिखाऊंगा, है ऑप्टिमिज्म, पॉजिटिविटी, कॉन्फिडेंस. सो वी नीड टू चेंज द माइंडसेट. वी नीड टू चेंज द वे वी लुक एट द टेस्ट रिजल्ट्स. एंड आई एम श्योर इफ यू लिसन टू ऑल द हाई अचीवर्स, ऑल द टॉपर्स दिस टाइम, दे ऑल सेड वन लाइन कि टेस्ट के रिजल्ट से मत घबराओ, टेस्ट को लर्निंग अपॉर्चुनिटी की तरह यूज करो.
Right. So I think most of you here, you know, when I see your messages in the chat box, I feel that most of you only need a reassurance, right? Majority of times, ma'am, I am doing this. Am I doing it right? Or sir, I'm doing this. Am I doing it right? So this is a message that I want to send out to each one of you. Okay. Select a path for yourself, right? After thinking a bit, right? As Dr. Somer said, spend some time, do an analysis, select a path. And if you cannot select a path, I'm telling you the path. The path is threefold. The first part I said is retrograde revision of your class notes. Second, I said practice 100 MCQs every day. The third I said is practice 1 GT every week. This is a very, very basic plan that I want you to follow, or else you can make a plan for yourself. Now, ये सिर्फ एक दिन करना है. The other 39 days, you have to simply follow the plan. Which means the most important thing that I want you all is not a reassurance from us, but a reassurance from your own self that you are on the right path. हम faith की बात करते हैं. Most of the times we don't really mean have faith on us, because the most important thing is having faith on yourself, right? एक बार सिर्फ एक बार think and decide a path, and once you have thought about it, don't keep changing it. Okay, it doesn't help. What you need to do next 39 days is just stick to that path, have faith, keep telling yourself whatever I am doing is what I need. Okay, don't get into a FOMO thinking what everyone else is doing. So this is what you have to tell yourself, that whatever I have decided is what I need, because I know the best what I need, and therefore I am going to stick to it for next 39 days, no matter what is going to happen. And believe me, you will see the tables turn. Yes, and that's what we want. So please have faith on yourself. I know you people need reassurance, but beta ji, when you take reassurance from others, it will last a very short while. It will last for a day, and then it will again be the same situation where you are tensed, stressed, you don't know what you are doing. I don't want you to see you in that pity state. So please give the reassurance that you need yourself. You are very, very learned people. आपसे ज़्यादा कोई पढ़ा लिखा है क्या? There are no other people who are as learned as you are or as hardworking as you are. You need to have this immense faith in yourself, and you need to keep telling yourself that this is the path I've chosen. I am going to stick to it. This is what is going to work for me, and it will, right? But just decide on that path, doing a retrospection on what has happened so far. If you can't do that, just follow my basic plan. Okay, follow my basic plan. I'm sure it will work out for most of you if you do it the way we've told you. Okay.
Now I'll again repeat, what I said so far and what Dr. Deepti said so far, so that we can get a perspective for people who have, joined in a little late. See, the key here is three things. We need to be revisiting what we have done so far, because the last 40 days are critical. So we will revise the theory, the concept from our notes. But when you read the notes again and again, because this is a delayed exam, sometimes you miss the same line again and again. So we need to find out what we don't know by giving tests. So in DAMS, we have like scores of tests available to you. You have grand tests, SWT. Some of you are T&D students. Some of you are regular student with class test. Last mile revision test has recently we started. Then we will be conducting a CBT on 8th of August, mock test at the end of August. So there are like going to be scores of tests for you. And then in the final week, you need a short, quick revision course, which is DVT or must know topics, or both. They both have different perspectives. Must know is subject wise, DVT is system wise. But above all, we need to forgive and forget what happened in this time exam, and we need to work for future. पास्ट को नहीं बदला जा सकता, फ्यूचर को बदला जा सकता है ना, फ्यूचर को बनाया जा सकता है. लर्न फ्रॉम मिस्टेक, सेल्फ बिलीफ. अगर नहीं आ रहा तो छोटी विक्ट्री लेके आएंगे. इफ आई एम अनेबल टू गेट सेल्फ बिलीफ, आई नीड सम विक्ट्री. आई गिव यू अ सिंपल एग्जांपल, है ना. एक एग्जांपल है जो एक बच्चे ने मुझे दिया, एंड आई वांट टू गिव इट बैक टू यू. एक स्टूडेंट आया, कहता है कि सर, आई वाज नॉट फीलिंग गुड अबाउट माय प्रिपरेशन. I started doing the DAMS daily quiz on eMedicos app, where there is a 5-question daily quiz uploaded at 12 o'clock in the night. He said, sir, just to get in the leaderboard, I sat on the phone every day at 12 midnight itself. As soon as the questions were uploaded at 12 midnight, I would do the paper and get my name on the number 1 position. And as soon as I get my name on the number 1 position, I start feeling good about myself that I am capable of it. And then gradually you start accumulating victories. Do a test, get a good rank, and see, oh, I am there. You are able to do this. Every topper begins by one day getting a good rank in his school or in his college or in a DAMS test or a teacher appreciating him. कोई भी टॉपर है, आप देखिए, मैं एक बच्चे का इंटरव्यू भी किया. वो बोला कि सर, मैंने एक टेस्ट दिया और मैं आई थिंक वो बच्चा अभी इस बार 5th रैंक है. उसने बोला मैंने 3rd ईयर में डैम्स का CBT दिया और ही गेव अ डैम्स CBT इन 3rd ईयर एंड ही गॉट अ वेरी गुड रैंक. ही सेड, if I'm able to get it right now, I should be working hard. I can smell victory. I should be working hard to make it happen in the real exam. And this time now he's in his first attempt after internship. He's gotten into the AIMS exam at top 5 rank. So it is possible. It is possible, but you need a tiny victory. Another, incident that I had was once I was teaching in the class, and a student came up to me and he said, sir, don't you think MRI ke magnetism mein the concept should be like this? And he described the entire magnetic physics which was actually brilliant. I said, yeah, you're so brilliant. You are able to do it at this stage. You are ahead of your times. He said, nahi sir, मैं physics बहुत बढ़िया से आता है मेरे को. And I forgot about him, but I said, you're a good guy. You'll do well in the exam. 3 years later, I meet him in an interview. He said, sir, आपने बोला कि मैं अच्छा कर रहा हूँ, तो मेरे अंदर energy आ गई. So we need small victories. We need a victory. If I have not done well in an exam, I need to somehow do well in something. समझ पा रहे हैं? It's very important. Sometimes, things may not be going well in your home or in your relationships. Then you need at least the career to work on. कुछ तो चले यार, कहीं से तो victory मिले ना. I need that victories to get back my self-esteem, self-belief back, and then you start winning and you start hitting it hard. So you need that self-belief to come back. And for that you need victories. For victories you need to give tests. But then you need to give the test seriously. Try and give. If I was in your place, अभी लग रहा है कि सर मुझसे नहीं होगा, सबसे स्ट्रॉन्ग सब्जेक्ट कौन सा है भाई आपका? सर मेरे को ना फिजियो बड़ा अच्छा लगता है. चल एक काम करता हूँ, फिजियो का ही टेस्ट दे देता हूँ, पूरा मन लगा के, एक बार विक्ट्री तो वापस आए. You understand? I need to get my mojo back. Somehow I need to get my self-belief back, my spirit back, and then you will win it. The key here is, I want you to understand that all of you are doctors. Can you imagine that all of you are actually extremely gifted individuals, intellectually speaking? I'm sure you know this. Not everybody has the capability to read human anatomy, let alone pharmacology, pathology, Harrison, and all those things. Normal human beings cannot even, hold those books together. So you are all extremely gifted. But then out of those extremely gifted individuals, some of you are able to master the art of the exam a little earlier than others, and you need to do that mastering, and it is about these things only. उसमें और कुछ भी नहीं है. We need to learn from mistakes, get back our confidence, do it again, do it again, do it again till the time you make it happen. And I have scores and scores of examples of students who have done well in the exam from impossible situations. I have seen students who were not qualified in NEETPG, they studied and they got into top 50 in AIMS. I have seen students who in the AIMS exam were at 2000 rank, 5000 rank, and they ended up getting All India 1 or 2 rank. I have seen all this happen in the past. मैंने सब देखा है. But the only thing is, उन सब के साथ वही साइकिल आया. Every time a result goes, not your way, it hits your self-confidence. It not only hits you, it hits your self-confidence, and it hits your confidence on the material that you have. लगता है यार जो मेरे पास है इससे होगा कि नहीं होगा, मैं तो पहले भी यही कर रहा था. And then you need to know that ultimately the exam is asking the usual things. The papers are doable. So that means I need to do my notes again. I need to practice more tests. It is all common sense, but I'm not doing it because, I'm feeling low and all that self-esteem issues is coming. So I need to get back. But ऐसा नहीं होगा ना कि आज I am at a trough, tomorrow I will start being at a peak. धीरे धीरे, step by step, I need to build my confidence back. I need to come back.
So I think we have pretty much, sort of answered all your queries, and the sole purpose of coming here today was to tell you that you are very much still, there. Right? Don't consider yourself ruled out from the situation, no matter where you are, whatever your rank is. You need to forget and forgive yourself. This is what we constantly keep saying, right? And this, also consider that the exam that is going to come is going to be the biggest opportunity, right? So please, jitni badi wo opportunity hai, utna hi effort you need to put in as well to sort of reach to the highest possible level. Okay? So please remember, do not think of the result that is going to happen in NEET, and that's exactly what Dr. Sumer is writing. You need to detach yourself from the result, from the rank that you will get. Your only focus has to be on the process, on the present. Every day you just give your best. Some basic things is what you need. You don't need to go over the top, okay? You already are brilliant people. It's just a, rhythm that you need to get into. It should be only a day that should matter to you. If tomorrow is Thursday, that's the only day that should matter to you. Really may live it and study as if it is the last day given to you to do your best. Every day You have to take it like that. You have to move step by step, and these little steps will ensure that you are reaching your destination, very soon. You're going to be on the other side very soon. And it is just a matter of belief. Please let me tell you one thing. You people don't need any reassurance. Okay, you are brilliant by yourself. Whenever you need reassurance, just tell yourself that you are on the right path and you are giving your best, and that's what matters. Okay, it will turn out to be good. Don't worry so much. Don't sort of demean yourself by using harsh words for yourself. Don't do that. Okay, there are a lot of other people who will do it for you, so you don't do that to yourself. For you, you have to be your priority. You have to treat yourself special. You have to make each day count. Yes, so that is what I'm going to leave you with a message. I am going to reply to your personal messages as well. It's just taking a lot of time getting back one-on-one. We are trying with the audio messages now so that it makes it faster, but hang on, we will reply back. Just consider that we are humans too. It takes time to get back, and especially when I want to go through the details that you have written. I don't want to give a common answer. I would always go through the details that you have sent over to me in your strategy. I would see what it needs and then get back to you. So please hang in. There is still a lot of time. You are going to improve. You have it in you. It's just a matter of few more days. Okay?
Okay. Now, so what I said here is, I'm repeating what Deepti said, but I have something very special to add today. One is that we need to detach from outcome. It's like बोलना बड़ा आसान है, लेकिन ज़रूरी भी है ये. मतलब I know so many of the students this time who are at a good rank but not good enough, but at a good rank in this INICET. And the only one of the things that happens, sometimes we get so overwhelmed by the result. कई बच्चे ऐसे होते हैं, बोलते हैं सर किसी तरह एम्स लग जाए, एम्स मिल जाए, एम्स मिल जाए, and we're thinking too much about the aims, not about doing my best every day. So it is important to focus on the process, focus on the journey, detach yourself from the outcome. And you don't want to have a regret later on. आपको regret नहीं चाहिए आगे ना, तो इसके लिए प्लान करना है. मैं एक चीज़ कहना चाहता हूँ, जो मुझे एक ज़रूरी बात याद आई, मैं भूल गया था बाद में, मैं अभी दोबारा लिखना चाहता हूँ. Please notice these two words that I am writing. Overthinking. On the day of the exam I'm talking about. Underthinking. Okay. And I'll try to go granular into it, deep into it. Now imagine now if you are giving an exam and you have a question which is directly from the class notes. Okay? Listen to me, everybody, listen to me and answer. Okay? Listen to me and answer. ओके, ध्यान से देखो, और जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ उसको आपने चैट बॉक्स में बताना है. इफ देर इज अ क्वेश्चन इन द एग्जाम विच इज डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम योर क्लास नोट्स, वो सर ने बोला वही आ गया एज इट इज, अब क्या करना है? ओके, अब क्या करना है? यू नीड टू डू इट विद योर गट फीलिंग, फर्स्ट इंस्टिंक्ट. ओवर थिंकिंग करेंगे तो गड़बड़ हो जाएगी. ओके, आई विल नॉट टेल यू व्हाट इज ओवर थिंकिंग. ओवर थिंकिंग कब होती है मैं आपको बताता हूँ. सो देर इज अ चाइल्ड हु केम टू मी, सर इन दैट पेपर ना देर वॉज अ क्वेश्चन इन INICET ऑन ससेप्टिबिलिटी वेटेड MRI, सर डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम INICET TND, सर यू टोल्ड ऑल्सो इट विल कम. Okay, sir, but I saw a new choice in the paper called as proton density image. And I thought, sir, ये क्या होता है? And at that time, my mind got fixed on proton density and marked proton density as the answer. While the answer was susceptibility weighted MRI, I knew the answer. You had told it in the class. It was there in the damn TND paper, but I did it right. Wrong. What is this? Overthinking. Overthinking नहीं करनी उन क्वेश्चंस में जिसमें आपको पता है कि क्लास में बताया गया है, अभी तो बात हुई है यार, उसमें कैसे ओवरथिंकिंग कर दिया. तो मैं उसको बोला, बच्चे को, टॉपर है बच्चा यार, इतना होशियार लड़का है वो, मैंने बोला यार प्रोटॉन डेंसिटी तो मैंने तेरे को बताया भी नहीं था, वो तो करते ही नहीं हम आजकल, मैंने तुझे बोला ही नहीं था कि उसके बारे में सोचना, तूने क्यों सोचा? सर एग्जाम में ना आई गॉट फिक्स्ड ऑन टू इट. ओके, आई गॉट फिक्स्ड ऑन टू इट. क्लियर. सेकेंड एग्जाम्पल, सिमिलर. लिसन टू मी. ओवर थिंकिंग, ध्यान से सुनना बेटा, ध्यान से सुनना. ADC मार्क कर दिया, कोई बात नहीं. ओके, ध्यान से सुनना. सेकेंड आइडिया दैट आई, देयर वाज अ क्वेश्चन वेयर द आंसर वाज गैस्ट्रिक वॉल्वुलस, 5-year child, intermittent pain abdomen, and you had a stomach shadow there in the mediastinum, and long choice, eventration. Sir, I did not know what eventration means, so I thought eventration is the answer. Underthinking. Second demon in the exam is underthinking. Now imagine now, suppose there is a question that you do not know directly. Listen to me.
there is a question in the exam that you don't know directly from your class notes, but the choices are around the class notes. You need to think and rule out. So I have seen people do the error of underthinking also. सर वो क्वेश्चन आता नहीं था, इवेंट रेशन अजीब सा लगा, मैंने मार दिया. अंडर थिंकिंग, ऐसे इतना आसान थोड़ी होता है कि हम एम्स में टॉप कर जाएंगे, समझ रहे हैं? डू यू एग्री कि नहीं? सो डोंट डू दिस एरर ऑफ ओवर थिंकिंग, अंडर थिंकिंग. आई एम अगेन एक्सप्लेनिंग टू यू, इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड आई एम ट्राइंग माई बेस्ट टू गिव यू द लॉजिक बिहाइंड इट. आई विल रिपीट इन हिंदी एंड इंग्लिश ऑल्सो. जो क्वेश्चन आपको क्लास में पढ़ाया गया था उस पे ओवर थिंकिंग करोगे तो गलती होगी. उसमें फर्स्ट इंस्टिंक्ट पे जाना है. जो क्वेश्चन इनडायरेक्ट है, माने एग्जामिनर ने मेहनत से बनाया कि वो कोई भी डायरेक्टली ना कर पाए, उसमें चॉइसेस से रूल आउट करना है, उसमें अंडर थिंकिंग करोगे तो जजमेंटल होके गलत कर दोगे. जजमेंटल में होगे तो हमेशा अजीब चॉइस पे टिक मार दोगे. समझ पा रहे? आई अगेन रिपीट इन इंग्लिश बिकॉज आई गेव द एग्जाम्पल्स फ्रॉम दिस ईयर्स पेपर इटसेल्फ सो दैट यू नो यू आर एबल टू रिलेट एंड अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट गोज रॉन्ग इन द एग्जाम. Underthinking means, okay, listen to me, everybody listen to me, all the बच्चा सुनो. Underthinking means, सर मैंने C पे मार्क कर दिया, मुझे लगा C होगा आंसर. अब भाई, अब कंप्यूटर की जनरेशन आ गई, अब वो एग्जाम ऐसे नहीं होते कि सारे आंसर C पे रखते हैं.
And there are a certain set of students who would say that I was left with 30 questions, and then what I did was I marked B for all those 30, or I marked C for all those 30. Right? अब हम बड़े हो गए हैं बेटा. We are no longer trying for NEET UG, जिसमें you know the biology section was done very intensely and the physics chemistry was done like this, all B's and all C's. So no, you know, please do not as Dr. Sumay said, do not get overwhelmed by the name of the exam, that oh it is INI, or oh this is NEETPG, such a big thing. Do not get overwhelmed. Things which come to you directly, go ahead and mark them. Follow your instincts. You have learned a lot to reach this stage where you can actually follow your instincts, right? And majority of times beta, when this competition is so hard, going aggressive usually helps. I think for me, for Dr. Sumer, most of the toppers that we have talked to, they've all gone aggressive, right? I think majority of them, we haven't spoken to even one who's done less than 190 questions. Most were around 195. Was the lowest. Okay.
And you know, another of the issue that we found out in this exam was time management. Now time management is like, let's divide your paper into 6 parts, equal part of 30 minutes each, and your time management should be for each 30 minutes, maybe you are targeting between 35 to 40 MCQs. Okay, it is important for NEETPG because we are expecting the questions to be longer. Okay, now please see and understand. I saw there were so many students. I interviewed at around 50 ranks, 60 ranks, and I saw that they had done their paper so well, they could have been actually in the top 10. The only error they had done was in the first 30 minutes, they had done only 5-10 questions because they hit a rough patch. That rough patch means कि हर एग्जाम में एक रफ पैच होता है. रफ पैच मतलब sometimes when you are giving the paper and sometimes you are unlucky that you get the rough patch in the first 2-3 questions itself. रफ पैच मतलब ये मुझे नहीं आता, एक क्वेश्चन नहीं आता, अगला भी नहीं आता, अगला भी नहीं आता, हार्ट बीट हो रही है, हे भगवान कुछ भी नहीं आता, ये क्या आ गया. You understand? Sometimes you hit a rough patch in the paper and that slows you down. And I saw this in the lot of middle rank students, and I met them and I was like, यार अच्छा किया तूने, सब कुछ अच्छा किया. The only thing is, sir, first 30 minutes I hit a rough patch, I did only 5 questions, and thereafter I was always struggling with the time. And the toppers had finished paper well in time. So try and imagine now, somebody is in a cool mind doing the paper in a relaxed manner, somebody is hurrying up in the last 30 minutes, you are bound to make some mistakes, and in an exam like this where the paper is doable, usual things, you pull your rank down. So second culprit, first was overthinking, underthinking. The second is time management. And I gave this skill to many students. I talked about this before the INICET. I saw many of the rankers had applied my idea. The idea is, day before your exam, start doing a GT. Only for practice, not for analysis, not for rank. पेपर से पिछले दिन ही एक GT करना शुरू कर देना, so that on the word go, जैसे एग्जामिनर बोले चलो start, you should be starting at a good pace because you're already doing a paper from the day before. You get into the habit of giving an exam. So give a GT just to get into the form. जैसे अगर मैं आपको बताऊं, when you play cricket in professional levels, सुबह जब मैच में सबसे पहला बैट्समैन ने अंदर जाना है, वो उससे पहले ही रात में ही नेट पे बॉल बैट पे मारना शुरू हो जाता है, सो दैट ही डजंट फील रस्टी व्हेन ही गोज टू द ग्राउंड. ऐसा ना हो ना एग्जाम में बॉल पहली बॉल गलती से एज कर दी एंड यू फील बैड अबाउट इट, यार मैं तो सचिन तेंदुलकर था, 0 पे आउट हो गया. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता ना. सो यू नीड टू गेट बैक इनटू फॉर्म. ठीक है, इवन व्हेन यू हैव टैलेंट लाइक सचिन तेंदुलकर, यू नीड टू बी इन फॉर्म. You understand the difference between talent and form? Talent matlab, innate abilities. Form means my current mindset, my current ability to do MCQs. You need to come back onto form. इसलिए ये बहुत ज़्यादा important है. Okay? ये बहुत ही ज़्यादा important है. Okay? Are you clear? Everybody understands? Okay. And let me just add one more dimension to the entire picture. Once you are able to do this, अब सब कुछ हम kill कर पाएंगे, because now you are able to see what went wrong in the exam. I am helping you here. Please listen to me. Okay. Now when you are giving the exam, this is the zone I want you to recollect today. ठीक है, जब एग्जाम शुरू होता है you have anxiety. ठीक है, एग्जाम खत्म हो रहा होता है you have anxiety. बीच में when you are in the middle of the paper, there is a zone of truth where you really know that okay यार ये मुझे पढ़ना चाहिए था, ये मुझे करना चाहिए था, and you have that ability to know this. But what happens is when we go to the exam, initially we are anxious. When we come out of the exam, people start saying ये कर लेता, वो कर लेता, ये कर लेता. But सच सिर्फ आपको पता है कि in the middle of the exam, I want you to recollect that zone in between. जब कोई भी नहीं था, आप थे, कंप्यूटर था, एग्जाम था, कोई भी नहीं था वहाँ पे. हो सकता है इन्विजिलेटर होगा, कोई नहीं. आप थे, कंप्यूटर था, एग्जाम था, सच था. You had an idea what was going wrong in the paper. I want you to recollect that zone and hold on to that moment. Write it on a piece of paper, work on it, and you will top the exam. ये सच को पकड़ नहीं पाते लोग. मैं सच कह रहा हूँ, कोई भी चीज़ जब हम कर रहे होते हैं, it is not just true for exams, it is true for life. Anything that I am pursuing. शुरू में इतना एंथुसियाज्म होता है कि अपनी गलतियां ही नहीं दिखती, बाद में दुनिया इतना जजमेंट कर देती है अपने ऊपर कि हम खुद नहीं देख पाते. बीच में एक जोन होता है जो हमें पता होता है, यार मुझे ये करना चाहिए. अगर उसको पकड़ लेंगे मुझे क्या करना चाहिए, वो आपको पता है. हो सकता है वो आपके मन में उस समय आया हो कि थोड़े MCQ और कर लेता ना तो और अच्छा हो जाता, थोड़े नोट्स रिवाइज कर लेता. यू हैव दैट आइडिया इन योर माइंड, डू इट. इफ यू आर एबल टू हैंडल दैट ट्रूथ, एक्सेप्ट इट, convert it into your strategy, you will come out a winner. It is like it is every one of you has the potential to be the winner. आप सभी गिफ्टेड है. it is difficult for us to mentor you as well, because आप लोग खुद ही इतने इंटेलिजेंट है कि इतना आसान भी नहीं है आपको मेंटर करना. लेकिन because we have been doing it for so many years, I know कि कहाँ गलती होती है, क्योंकि हमसे भी होती हैं गलतियाँ, and we keep analyzing. Okay, so
nobody is perfect,
है ना.
So we're all in the process of becoming our better versions, and this is the bigger truth of life. This is why you are here on this earth, living this life that you're living, because you had to go through this journey to become what you have to become, okay? And you can't skip that part. So let's take everything in a positive stride, okay? And let's try and make the best of every day that has been gifted to us. There may be downs, there may be highs. We must stay grounded. We must learn to accept where we have gone wrong. We must try and improve and never feel belittled. अगर कोई आपकी गलती बताता है, right? I really feel, और अगर आप खुद जान जाते हो तो बहुत ही अच्छी बात है, because that's the best way to improve yourself. Don't shy away. It's good if you make maximum mistakes in next 40 days so that you don't make any on the day of your exam, okay?
और ना ये कभी नहीं सोचना कि सर मैं कुछ नहीं कर पाऊंगा, मैं ऐसा क्यों. मतलब यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट एवरी लाइफ इज वैल्यूएबल. देयर इज अ पर्पस, दैट देयर इज अ डिवाइन पर्पस, देयर इज अ पर्सनल लेजेंड दैट यू नीड टू फुलफिल. कुछ तो करने के लिए आप बने हो सकता है आपको ना पता हो सकता है आपको आज ना पता हो सकता है यू गेट टू नो दिस लेटर ऑन. आई कीप मीटिंग सीनियर डॉक्टर्स हु tell me ke at that age now they understand why they suffered in the initial part of their journeys, because they had to help others. कई बार ऐसा भी होता है, and I'm you know experience this my own self, and I'm sure you must have also experienced it. कई बार क्या होता है कि because of what you have learned in your college, you might be able to do something for somebody else, and when he comes and says thank you to you, and you realize यार शायद इसीलिए मैंने इतना पढ़ा था. Okay, so believe that you have a purpose. ये सोचना बंद कर दो कि सर मेरे से कुछ नहीं होगा. और दूसरा कि एक एग्जाम को अपनी जिंदगी मत बनाओ. ये बहुत ज़रूरी बात है कि डू नॉट थिंक कि यार सर ये नीट पीजी नहीं हुआ तो मेरी ज़िंदगी कुछ, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. ये बहुत कुछ कर लेंगे ज़िंदगी में, सब कर लेंगे. अपनी पर्सनल लेजेंड पे फेथ रखो. देयर हैज़ टू बी अ पर्पस. ओके, वन एग्जाम हेयर एंड देयर विल नॉट डिफाइन यू. सो वंस यू रियलाइज दिस यू विल बी एबल टू मैनेज योर माइंड बेटर, है ना. और माइंड को जीत लिया, सबको जीत लेंगे, फिर कोई नहीं हरा सकता. लेकिन अगर खुद में ही हार गए ना, कंफ्यूज हो गए, फिर फंस जाएंगे. एक एग्जाम अच्छा नहीं हुआ तो क्या जिंदगी बदल जाएगी? क्या कुछ भी नहीं होगा. हम कर लेंगे ना, हम जीत लेंगे आगे. समझ पा रहे हैं? एक INICET में थोड़ा सा पीछे आगे, कोई बात नहीं, अगले में हम जीतेंगे. डू यू एग्री कि नहीं? इट इज अबाउट मैनेजिंग द माइंड, एंड टू मैनेज द माइंड यू नीड टू बिलीव दैट देयर इज अ पर्पस टू ह्यूमैनिटी. डे यू स्टार्ट थिंकिंग, बिलीविंग कि नहीं मेरे तो जिंदगी बर्बाद हो गई, ऐसे कैसे हो गई यार? you have the I'll repeat in English also. So sometimes when I get too emotional I get into this. So but let me repeat. So what I see is that there are there is a reason that you exist today, and that reason could be your parents, could be society in general, your future family. There are so many people dependent on you. So एक एग्जाम खराब होने से कैसे वो आपको डिफाइन कर सकता है? और वैसा वर्सा ऑल्सो, एग्जाम अच्छा हो गया तो भी डिफाइन नहीं करेगा. जिंदगी तो उन सब चीजों से बड़ी है. सो वंस यू स्टार्ट बिलीविंग इन दिस दैट देयर इज अ पर्पस दैट यू आर हियर, है ना. एंड सेकेंडली दैट यू आर गिफ्टेड, बिकॉज नॉट एवरीबडी गेट्स टू बिकम अ डॉक्टर. Be grateful for what you have, and then start working towards improving yourself on those quadrants that we talked about. Exam skill, revision, content, वो सब काम करेंगे, वो सब ज़रूरी है. लेकिन ये ना हो ना, ये मत बोलो, ये this is something that I keep telling all my students. ये मत बोलो कि सर मेरा एक एग्जाम खराब हो गया, मैं बेकार हो गया. क्या बात कर रहा है यार? You are more useful than you are actually a dream of lakhs of students. Today you go back and scroll into some NEET UG channel today. वो बच्चे बोल रहे हो कि काश MBBS के बच्चे बन जाए.
I know they want to be in your place. So I think we'll leave you with this little note or a long note, but we wanted to come and have a little chit chat with all of you. At the end of this session, I would just say that although I can't see all of you here, but I want you to click a picture of yourself smiling, right? Make a V and put it somewhere on your phone screen or anywhere. But I want each one of you to do this right now. I want you all to smile. Okay, because you deserve that smile. An exam cannot take away your smile. It cannot take away your happiness. Okay, so sabke sab, instead of looking at us on the screen right now, घुमाओ कैमरा, घुमाओ. You're all very photogenic. घुमाओ, एक अच्छी सी smile दो. ठीक है, no रोना धोना. Okay, please, your tears are so precious. Don't waste it on an exam. Keep it for your close ones, okay? And वो आंसू, खुशी के आंसू होने चाहिए, right? So all of you, turn your cameras, smile, make a V, and this is a V you're making for us. Yes, we'll soon see each other on the other side. We are waiting. I'll ask Dr. Sumay to empty the hot seat. And yes, so that's the hot seat with me. And now I'm going to empty the hot seat. And this is the hot seat with Dr. Sumay. Right? We're all wanting to see you here on the other side. Keep smiling. You will do well. There is nothing you lack. Yes, just have a lot of faith in yourself. Love yourself. Okay?
Seek positive examples. This time we have interviewed all sorts of students who are from all sorts of states and cities. I saw toppers from Jodhpur, from Bengaluru, from Kolkata, from Calicut. I think all around, Delhi, Mumbai. So don't all places. I'm speaking very fast so that I don't miss out on anything. Somebody gets angry at me, but I think all places. And all kind of backgrounds. Somebody from a government college, somebody from a private college, somebody who's a repeater, somebody after a bad rank at NEETPG, somebody a fresher. So ultimately, what is it that makes them successful, and what is it that makes somebody successful in an exam is mindset. mindset of self-belief, mindset that I have a purpose bigger than bigger than what you know right now. I'm telling you, not everybody becomes a physician. If you become a doctor, there is already a purpose defined for you. एक अपने से बड़ा है purpose, क्योंकि because when you work as a doctor, you're helping others. So it is more than self. That purpose is already there. So you are special. Keep believing in this, keep having self-belief, keep accumulating small victories, keep smiling, manage your mindset, manage the mind. कोई बात नहीं, एक एग्जाम अच्छा हुआ नहीं हुआ कोई बात नहीं, फिर वापस आएंगे. Okay, that is the key. I wish you all the best. It has been a pleasure to interact with all of you. So, and I am looking forward, we are looking forward to meet you in the interview after the NEET PG exam. We wish you all the best.